Welcome to Aaron Plays. This will be episode 6 of my Fire in the Lake playthrough, with me playing as the US and the other 3 factions being played by the Tru'ng expansion bots. We've come to our first coup. Coup card here. So when it comes to a coup, the first thing we do is we actually follow the instructions on the coup card. So it says Corps Commander Ascendant, transport uses max 1 location space. Okay, so uses max 1 location space. Okay, so you can't transport as far as you want to. Normally with the transport, you can go from here along this line of communication to here, and along this line of communication to here, and then and so on. You can go as far as long as those lines of communication were empty or free of insurgents, you could pretty much cover the entire South of Vietnam. Well, this guy doesn't seem to like that, so that can't be done. Okay, there are no other instructions on there. It says conduct coup round, victory to reset. Monsoons discard next. Well, we suffer the monsoon. So when we finish the coup, this card will come down here to replace this RVN leader. So in the Tru'ng expansion, you get a non-player coup round instruction sheet, and you can see it's quite detailed. I'm not going to keep this up as I'm working my way through that. I've got the proper copy. I just wanted to show it to you, but it goes through each of the phases with the instructions of what to do. So I'm going to bring that down the bottom here. Let me remove the movement trails and move this to the first step on the coup. And we'll go through the coup in quite detail because, you know, you could hopefully help people learn to play the game from these videos as well, not just the Tru'ng expansion. So the first step is, has anyone achieved victory? So that there, 51 victory points is required for both myself and the Arvin. I say victory points, okay. For me, one victory is measured in support and available. So the amount of provinces that have got support and the amount of available troops that I've got. The Arvin is based on coin control and patronage. There's 41 and I'm at 35, so quite a fair distance away. The Viet Cong, they got 21 points. They need to get to 36, so they're quite a distance. And the NVA, they're on 8, and they've got to get to 19. So the answer to that question is no, no one is winning at this moment. Okay, so the next step is resources. Okay, so I'm going to move this marker to above these points as I move along the boxes to resources. So sabotage. Sabotage occurs when there are guerrillas, or I suppose even NVA troops. So when an insurgent force is on these lines of communication. Okay, well, at the present moment, none of these lines of communication have got any insurgent forces, so there is no sabotage. The next step, degrade the trail. That would occur if any box in Laos or Cambodia is coin controlled. Well, none of the boxes in Laos and Cambodia are coin controlled, so there's no degradation of the trail. Next thing, Arvin resources. Okay, so the Arvin get resources equal to the total econ value. So Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so the total econ value is determined by these lines of communication. There's one there, one there, one there. So if these had been sabotaged, they would have got less on their econ value, and the total of them is 15. So if these routes get sabotaged and broken, the econ value will go down. As it is, I said none of them are actually occupied, so they stay at 15. So the Arvin get total of econ, which is 15. So they're on 12 at the moment, so they're going to get another 15. So that'll take them to 27. Okay, and plus aid. And the aid is currently on 18, so they get another 18 on top of that. So 27 plus 18, 47, 45. So that is the Arvin resources. And as you know, because the next step is NVA and VC, we don't record NVA or VC resources, so no need to shift anything there.
Don't know that.
No need to shift anything there. And then finally subtract 3 times the number of casualties pieces from the aid. Well, the US have taken no casualties, so nothing is subtracted from the aid. So that's what that last step there is, casualties to aid. So we have finished the resources step of the coup. Now we go into support. So the first step there is US pacify. Pacify is where I will try and change anything from neutral, well, from whatever, to get them towards active support. Because the more that the people, and the support is the people loving what's going on, supporting the government and the intervention of the US. And each of those areas which we've got passive support, they could become active support as well. Actively allowed to pacify up to 4 spaces, which has coin control, police, and their own troops. Now, I get first dibs on this. We have a maximum of 4 spaces, so it could be a town or a province. As I'm a player, I can choose, and it's got to have my troop and a police. So I could do Imbai Zion here, Okinawa, Saigon, and so on. So I couldn't do Quintry, there's no police. Now, hopefully, well, I'm probably going to do 4 spaces. And then the Arvin won't be able to do any, but the Arvin would only take them to passive support anyway. That's a sort of restriction. They don't want me to win the game either. So, with that in mind, so I might pacify a combined total of 4 spaces, coin control, police, and my troops. Every 3 Arvin resources spent removes any terror marker from a space, or once no terror, shifts 1 level towards active support, and up to 2 levels per space is phased. Well, there's no terror. Okay, at the present moment, PCs didn't get a chance to do any terror. So it's going to cost me 3 resources, but I had the momentum card right from the beginning of the game. Pacification Czar. This support phase, pacify, costs 1 resource per step or terror. Instead of 3, it's 1. Wow, that's cheap, isn't it? So let's see if I can get maximum out of this. So if this will be 1 area. Got a police and my troops. So I'm going to pacify this up 2 levels. So a serious leaflet campaign going on there. Okay, so that will cost 2 resources. All right. Anyway, I could do Saigon, and I could do Zion, but they've only increased by 1 level. Is there any way I can increase by 2? I said to get maximum out of this Khartoum looks like a good place. Again, got my troops. So just towards support. Okay, again, that's going to cost 2 resources. That's 2. Da Nang. Yeah, let's do that one. That will cost another 2. So I have 1 more space. Now Saigon will give me a massive boost. That'll give me 6 points. Taking me 2 shy of victory, though I can't win until the next coup. We passed that particular stage. But that will allow me to bring more troops in. Okay, let's do Saigon then. That'll cost 1 more resource. And that is the pacify. So the actual Arvin do not get a chance to pacify. Next on that is agitate. Now I'm going to read what agitate normally is, and then we'll see how that varies with the Tru'ng expansion. So normally with agitate, VC may agitate in up to 4 spaces with any VC and no coin control. Every 1 VC resource spent removes a terror, or once no terror shifts 1 level towards active opposition. So it's the opposite of the pacify I've just had. So may agitate in up to 4 spaces with any VC and no coin control. So they could agitate in Tainan, Haiphong, because there's no coin control in those areas. There's no point agitating here because they're already at maximum. They hate me already. So there's not that many places that haven't got coin control. Quantin. So that's the base of what they can do. Now let's have a look at what this card says. So it says NPVC, select spaces using shift towards opposition for total shifts and terror markers removed up to agitate total. Reduce agitate total -1 for each terror mark removed and level shifted, maximum of 4 spaces. Okay, well, we know that agitate total, which is actually under here, put that on top, is 8. Okay, so it says shift towards opposition. So that's where we again look at the spaces charts that they have, the bots have. Bring that up. Here. Let's zoom in on that. Okay, shift towards opposition. And they're going to do this in a maximum of 4 spaces. Okay, well, how many spaces can they do it in anyway? So they can do it here, 1. So no coin control. No coin control with any VC and no coin control. All right. No point doing here because they say they already hate me enough. No coin control. You do it here. That looks like the maximum they can do it in. It's 3 spaces without coin control where they have spaces where they aren't already at maximum opposition. Yeah, they can't do it here because it's coin control. Yes, yeah, so that's 3 of those. So select spaces using shift towards opposition for total shifts. Terra markers removed to agitate total. All right, let's just see if there's any restrictions from here. Shift towards opposition. City or province not at active opposition. All 3 of those apply. Most pop. Okay. So they'll do that first if they can only do 1, but they can do all 3. US is player, most total support. So they would do if they were restricted to less than spaces, they would go for the ones that already had my support on them and then randomly select. So they'll do all 3 of those provinces. So it says select spaces towards for total shifts and Terra markers removed to agitate total. Use agitate total for each Terra marker removed and each level shifted towards position. So they can do maximum 2 shifts in each space. So this one here, just towards opposition, that's as bad as they can do. So that would drop their agitate by 1. So those. Then doing taming in, they can do 2, just towards opposition. That's 1, 2. This one will go 2. So that event I played, they've kept me able to counteract it. Okay. And that's another, and they did 2. So total another 4 on the agitate drop. That goes back to 3. And that concludes. So I'm going to remove these markers for the time being. So let's delete these because they might be needed for something else. Right. So that concludes the support part. Redeploy. Okay. So Arvin must, so first of all, when in the redeploy phase, remove all US Arvin pieces from Laos and Cambodia. There are none. US troops, if there were any, would have gone out of play, others would have gone to available. So if I move into Laos and Cambodia, and I'm still there when there's a coup on, those troops moved out of play, they're interned. Whereas the NVA, Yarwin would go back to available. But there are none, so let's move on. Arvin must move its troops from lines of communications and provinces without US Arvin bases. Okay. So there's no Arvin troops on lines of communication at the present. All right. But there are a few troops where there are no US bases, like one here, a couple here, one here. All right. So I'm reading the normal rules and then we'll see how it applies it again for the bots. So Arvin must move its troops from lines of communications and provinces without US or Arvin bases and may move other Arvin troops to cities without NVA control and any US Arvin bases or Saigon. So what it's saying is the troops have got to come out of the provinces and go back to either cities or bases. Okay, so that's for the troops. And after that, Arvin then may move any police to any lines of communication or coin control within South Vietnam. So the police can go any of these lines of communications or into any coin control in South Vietnam. So I could move a policeman down here because it's coin controlled, but not into here because it's not. Okay, so let's see how that applies on the NP coup round instructions. All right. NP Arvin. Move cubes as outlined below and keep other cubes in their current spaces. Except as a result of troops exiting provinces without a coin base, keep Arvin cubes to exceed US troops in 2 pot spaces with support. Keep both one Arvin troop and one police in each space without support. And keep coin pieces to exceed enemies first, and keep coin pieces plus VC pieces to equal or exceed NVA pieces. Wow. Move cubes only once within the following guidelines. This is by far the largest set of instructions I've seen. So let's bring that up. You can see this redeploy here. And all that there is to do with Arvin and where they go. So this is going to be a bit of a headache. Right. Okay, well, they're still going to follow the normal rules of the game. So Arvin must move. So let's move. So this guy here, I'll move them out of the way. These two guys. And this one. There's a total of 4 troops they've got there. Which must go back to a city or a base. Okay. So move cubes as outlined below. So step 1, move troops to get coin pieces to exceed enemies in Saigon and in all provinces with a coin base. Move troops to get coin pieces to exceed enemies in Saigon. Well, yeah, we've got enough troops there. Now, what do they class as an enemy? I'll just check it. I'm not classed as an enemy, so all right. So move troops to get coin pieces to exceed enemies in Saigon and in all provinces with a coin base. Well, at the present moment, we only have one province with a coin base, which is here. We've already got enough coin pieces to exceed the enemy. Get one troop to Hoi and to each 2-pot province with a coin base and no support. Most opposition first. There's already troops in Hoi. And to each 2-pot province, the coin base and no support. Again, they've only got one coin base. None with a 2-pot province. Most opposition first. So none of that really applies. 3. Move troops to get Arvin cubes to exceed US troops in each 2-pot province with a coin base. US troops and no support. Again, 2-pot province with a coin base. These are 2-pot provinces. None of them have got a coin base in them. So again, none of that applies. It's a 1-pot province. Right, so the rest of the instructions, move any troops still in provinces without a coin base. So that's those 4 there. So now we've got to go to the place cubes or ranges to select destination spaces. So let's go back on to this. Let's zoom in. Place cubes or ranges. So we're looking at that one. So city or province in South Vietnam without coin control. Well, all the spaces we're going to have got coin control. Remember, these have got to go back to a base or a city. Most pop is Saigon, so it looks like they're all going back to Saigon. Enemy base, city or province with the fewest enemy pieces. They're going back to Saigon. Okay. All right, let's get rid of all those move trails. Okay, so that's the actual troops. Now the rest of the troops move. So going back on their general instruction, move cubes as outlined below and keep other cubes in their current spaces. Except as a result of troops exiting provinces without a coin base, keep Arvin cubes to exceed. Yeah, I think that's all fine. Okay. So the next part of the redeploy is move any police to any lines of communications or coin control in South Vietnam. That's the general instructions for the actual game. And now using the actual non-player coup round instructions, get police to exceed enemies in all provinces with coin control and no coin base. Okay. So we look here, get police to exceed enemies in all provinces with coin control. There's no base there. And no coin base. So they definitely wanted to place some police here. Actually, I might use a white one instead of about better. Definitely want to get police here. There's coin control without a base. Get one police to Hoi and each two pot province with coin control and no support. Most opposition first. Get one police to Hoi. There's already two police in Hoi. And each two pot province with coin control and no support. Coin control. And no support. Coin control and no support. So they definitely want to place a police there. Coin control with no support. I want to go there. Coin control with no support. There's already police in there. There's already police here. Already police here. Coin control with no support. Not coin control. Already police. Okay, so we've got a couple of places. So I was going to use white, didn't I? Delete that. Coin control with police support. So get one police to Hoi and each two pot province with coin control and no support, most opposition first. Okay, so we've got a lot of police here. So one moves here. One moves there. And the other two province, don't think there was. No. Move please to get Arvin cubes to exceed US troops in each two pot space with both US troops and support. Move police to get Arvin cubes to exceed US troops in each two pot space with both US troops and support. They want to move, get Arvin cubes to exceed US troops each pop, 2 pop space. So that's that one there. That's a 2 pop space. So they want another policeman there. They exceed US troops and support. Oh, there's no support in that one. That one's fine. These are all 1 spaces, 1 spaces. That's a 2 space. Okay, there are 2 US troops, so they want 3 police in there. Oh, it's got to have support, it hasn't got support. Okay. No US cubes, that's fine. Not there. Okay, so it looks like that one. And get police to equal guerrillas on all lines of communication. Highest econ first. Well, there's no guerrillas on lines of communication, so they don't need to move any of those. I think that's that. Okay. Right. Then it's got the non-player. So we've got then NBA. So for this one, NVA may move NVA troops from any spaces to any NVA bases. Okay, so what's it say under the actual? On player instructions, move NVA troops as outlined below and keep other NVA troops in their current spaces. Keep NVA pieces to exceed coin pieces plus VC. Well, they're still across their side of the border, so don't have to worry too much about that part. Move troops only once within the following. Move NVA troops using place troops to select destination spaces outside North Vietnam with an NVA base. Move NVA troops from South Vietnam spaces with no NVA control and no NVA posts first. Well, there's none in South Vietnam as yet. Okay, so going back on this, let's look at the. As it says, use the place troops as a priority. Set your prompts to most NVA guerrillas, most NVA bases. They've got 1 guerrilla here, and they've got 2 guerrillas there. So NVA troops using place troops select destination spaces outside North Vietnam with NVA base. Okay. None of those apply. City or province in South Vietnam without NVA control. Oh, coin control. Most pop. Okay, I must admit this is confusing a bit. I'm going to pause here and see if I can fathom it out. Okay, so it looks like I've got to follow this quite literally. So they will go to the province with the most guerrillas if they shift at all. There's only 1 guerrilla there. There's 2 guerrillas there. So if any troops are going to shift, they will shift to this base here. Okay. If there was any other space with more guerrillas, then they would shift there. There isn't. There's only that one. And most bases, well, it's got the same amount of bases as everywhere else. So, will they shift any troops at all? Move NVA troops to select a place outside North Vietnam with an right. Move NVA troops from South Vietnam spaces. So they were in South Vietnam with no NVA control and no NVA base first. They would actually fall back to here if there was no NVA bases. Right. It says roll 3d6, get NVA troops equal to the roll result to each selected space. Well, that's the first selected space. So roll 3d6. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's already more than 7. There's 4, there's 7 there. Okay. That will be the next selected space. It's got 1 gorilla. That's got 1 gorilla. So they're both the same. Both got 2 bases. Both NBA bases. No, do they have Laos and Cambodia have coin control? No city or provinces in South Vietnam. These don't really apply. Most pop, none of them have got pop. City or province without it, none of them have got city or province. VC, no bases available. City or province with fewest non-NBA pieces, none of them got NBA pieces. City or province with the highest total adjacent pop. So it's again this one here. So let's see how many pieces can that take. 2, 3, 8. There's already 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's more than enough there. So that one's 8, 3, 6, 7, 8. So there's 1 spare there. There's 5 spare there. So the next space is this one. Okay. And it wants 5, 11, 12, 13. But it can't have 13 because these ones still need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from there. And 1 from there. I think that's what it means. Any experts on this, be much appreciated. The example that's given in the book, unfortunately, the player is playing the NVA, so it doesn't really give an example in the book of what actually happens, and I think that would have been useful. Yeah, it's all right to say, oh, the player is this, but if it wasn't a player, this is what could have possibly happened. But I think that's right. So, moving on. Okay, let's get rid of these pawns. A few dotted around. Okay, so the next step is commitment. This is the only time in the game, or the only time in Coup or in the game that I can bring stuff onto the board. Okay, so on here, commitment. Right, it says then 1 in 3 round down US troops and all base casualties out of play. Well, I've got no casualties, so none of these would be going out of play. But if I did, 1 in 3 casualties would go out of play and all bases would go out of play. But we don't have any. So US places other troop casualties into any coin controlled, lines of communication, or Saigon. So the other guys, so if I had 3 casualties, 1 would be going out of play, 2 would come back into South Vietnam. Okay, so US may move troops totaling up to 10, minus the number of casualties just placed. Well, there's no casualties being placed, so I can place 10, plus up to 2 US bases. Among available any coin control, any lines of communication, and Saigon, then adjust control. Every 2 used pieces round down moved from map to available, so I could withdraw, so I could take this back to available. Every 2, I'm going to shift, VC may shift 1 population 1 level towards opposition. Well, we're not withdrawing, we're coming in. Okay. So what's my thinking? I can bring up to 10 and 2 bases. I've got 2 bases here. I would ideally like a base down here. So where can I bring them up to? Into any coin controlled, line communications, or Saigon. Any coin-controlled or line of communications or Saigon. Okay. Well, 10 troops. We're definitely going to bring a base in. Would like a base down here. And another troop. It's going down now. 1 troop or 2. Okay. Well, I want to keep this up. We've got quite a lot of North Vietnamese starting to boil up here. And they could start to bombard. I don't want too many troops here. The more troops have in that area, the more they're likely to bombard me. I'm hoping the Arvin will deal with Tay Ninh, but I'm not that confident. Okay, so I'm going to bring a troop into Hue. So that's 3 brought in so far. Into Hue on for 4. Cam Ranh for 5. Notice this drops my victory. The main reason for bringing these in is, well, if they're not going to try and get these people to love the new policies, then my troops and the police will do the hearts and minds. So we've brought in 5 so far. Will be coin control, so let's do this. 6. 7, for the same reason. 8. 8. Do I need any more? I think we will bring the last 2. I can see nastiness occurring around here soon. Okay. One more here for 9. And one more into block look. 10. Okay. Maximum commitment. Okay. Anything else I need to do at that point? No. No. Okay. So that is US commitment done. Reset phase. Okay, so in here, your trail at 0 improved to 1. Was the trails currently at 3? Or at 4 degrade to 3, so it's okay. Remove terror and sabotage, there are none. All guerrillas and special forces go underground. Is there an end of Coup reset phase? In fact, there's a nice little button here. Okay. All factions are now eligible. Well, didn't do that, did it? Okay. And for the bot, I actually shuffle the bot cards. So a total of, say, 18 cards, 6 for each faction. All with instructions on both sides. So every coup they get a shuffle. That's done. So that will conclude coup. So let's end card play. Right. So that coup goes up to the top here. So let's move him away. He will come down the bottom here. He has now replaced that leader. And he's now into effect. Transport uses a maximum of 1 location space. The momentum's cards, oh, they've taken those already. And draw a card. Ready to go. Right, well, I'm going to stop at that point. If you enjoy what you're watching, please click the like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Any comments, as per usual, much appreciated, especially if you've got anything to do with the NVA shifting of their troops. But until next time, bye.